Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we're going to look at how to create this particular amazing dashboard we have on our screen. So not just this one, including this one and as well this one right here. So it's a very dynamic dashboard that we can actually create together and see how to use Microsoft Excel, a powerful tool to create a dashboard from the scratch. So this is what it is. So we can actually do this together. If you got the data already, I'm going to get started with you to actually start creating this and have some amazing, cool tricks shown to you. Over here, we have the PDF that you can actually go ahead and download and take a look at what we have right here as a task that we're going to actually, follow when you get the data downloaded. So if you're ready, I'm always ready. Let's get it. All right, welcome to this particular class. For the first time, you have to download the dataset we're going to use. So it contains 5 different tables. The next thing is for me to show you how to actually load this into Power Query in Excel for we need to actually normalize our data. All right. Right here, we have a plain sheet. There is nothing here, a plain workbook, nothing on it. So what you're going to do now is to click on the data right here. And we go straight up to this particular get data. Under get data, we have file, and from file, we can see different data sources we can actually connect to. So I'm going to choose this particular text CSV right here. So right here, I have all my tables that is in my data set. I'm going to come up with the customer table first, then I click on import. So these settings you have right here, don't touch it, just leave it the way it is. Go ahead and click on transform data. So there we go. The data we have is actually semi-clean. It does not have any rough part whatsoever. You can just look across and see what it is, right? And over here, what we're going to do is for we to actually make a little transformation. Before we go on transformation, let me show you the difference between this particular transform and add column. The add column would create an extra column for you and actually keep the existing column and make the transformation based on the new column it added. While the transform column right here will transform the existing column, and that is what it is that you should know. Okay, in should I want to use this particular add column right now to make sure I merge this particular first name and the last name together. What do? I can actually do this with ease. Go ahead and click on merge columns. And when I do that, I have this particular part popped up. It's asking me for delimiter or separator. I can actually use space, and over here I can use merge. Because I'm not going to use this, I just want to show you. Let me just click on OK. So right now, this is still staying here. And if I scroll to the right-hand corner, I have the new merged column right here. I told you I'm not going to use it. Just want to show you how the add column works. So I'm going to take it off, right? So we are back right here right now. I'm going to highlight this, and this is the thing. If you want to do this, you highlight which one should come first. So the first name should come first, then the last name. Then go over to transform, and you can quickly see the merge column right here. And if you right click again, you can see where it says merge column. And once you do this, you just use this comma separator. Sorry, the space delimiter. Then over here, we can take this one to be full name. Then go ahead and click on OK. Now we have it as one. Now we have full name. Those two columns have been meshed together as one. You get it right now. So the next thing right away is for we to quickly know how many years are our customers. So to do that, it's very simple and easy. What you need to do is to actually say, okay, right now, you go to add column, to add a new column. From add column, come over here to date and click on age. So we have converted this into age. So we're going to add on that column to actually make sure you convert it into, normal year of every single individual customers we have. So I'm going to go to this particular custom column. So click on it. So here I'm going to say customer age. Customer age here. So what I'm going to do right now, the new column we have just added is right here, which is this particular age. You can double click to actually have it right here and divide it by 365 days. That is what you need to do. Go ahead and click on OK. So now we have this. It looks some kind of weird because it has a lot of decimal places, right? So we can remove it. So what we can do right now, click on this particular part to change the data type to a whole number. So now we have the age for our customers. If you carry a calculator and subtract 1995 from 2024, 25, 26, depends on when you're watching this, you can see that it gives you this number that you have right here. And this is actually dynamic. It changes based on time, right? So we can go ahead and have this removed. And if we don't have the need of this any longer, I don't think this is needed to be kept. So I'm going to take them all off. So this is what it is. We have gotten this right now. Okay, so we call this customer table. I can have it renamed, depends on what you want. If I double click it now, I can go ahead and actually call this dim for dimension, or can use underscore customer, right? So that is how you can actually get this done. So once you're done with this, the next thing you have to do is to actually load this to your Excel. But unfortunately, I'm not loading this into Excel worksheet. Instead of that, I'm going to go ahead and click on Home. From Home, click over here on this little drop down here and close and load to. Don't click on close and load. Close and load to. Now you have this little pop-up right here. What you need to do right now is to click on only create connection, and over here you click on add this to data model. So do you know you can just do this and you'll be thinking like, where is this loading into? This is loading into Excel Power Pivot. Let us use that word, Power Pivot. So now we have our first table right in here. And if you want to take a look at where this table goes to, here you will have the Power Pivot. Click on it and you can launch the Power Pivot by clicking on this particular manage right here. And it's going to have the Power Pivot opened for us. So this is where our data lives right now. So this particular Power Pivot can take up to 3, 4, 5, even 10 million rows of data that the Excel worksheet cannot carry. So we have more tables to go. Let's keep going. Okay, click back on data here. Then click on get data and file. Then click on this particular CSV. So we take our main table, which is the fact table. So do the same thing, just do this. Transform data. So the fact table contains our transactional data, day-to-day transactional data. This has to do with a lot of duplicates. So if you look at it, it majorly contains some kind of figures, right? Some figures, date and stuff like that. So we check around to see if the data types are really okay. In case you're doubting, or you're not really good at data type, you can have it done automatically. All you have to do is to highlight all your column by using Ctrl+A, then go over to transform and click on this particular detect data type. And it's going to fix everything for you. But knowing your data type is actually very, very important. How do you know your data type individually? Just come over here on this particular part. So this one has to do with decimal. Study the icons, and that will definitely save you a lot of time, right? So you can just check it out, and this is cool. Okay, once we are done, the fact table right here is okay, or you can change it to transaction, depends on what you really want to have. So come over here and go ahead and click on this, then click on this. That will definitely load your data for you. So click over, create a link connection and add this, and click over here, and the table will be loaded into this particular part. Behind the scene, I've gotten some tables right here, which is not really hard to do at all. So I'm going to go and bring in the last table, which is if I go ahead and click on the same data again, let's just take a look at that. So I can click on CSV from here. Now we have this sales table. So let's see what happens if I mistakenly load this into the worksheet. It's not much. You can go over here and click on transform. And one beautiful thing is this. If, for example, your noded your data is very huge. Please do not make this particular mistake. So before we go on, I would like to actually just some kind of combine this together. Make sure you're clicking on transform, or you can go over here and do it, or you can right click and you'll find the same feature to be used. So now we use the separate stop this some kind of space, and we put full name for our salespeople. Okay, now the age of the salespeople is the same thing as what we have done before. We need to add a column. So we click on this particular one, we click on age, and once that is done for us, we just go over here and click on this, and we pick the age we have here. Just double click. We go over and divide it by 365. Very simple. Then we go ahead and click on OK. Right? So we can convert this one to a whole number that gives us the age of every single, salesperson. We go ahead and remove this, and this we have just this few columns, right? So before we go on, and that way to change the names of this is actually going to be, this one is going to be target, monthly store target. This is going to be like this. So here I would like to use dimensional table, which is going to be dim underscore products. So we do the same thing to this one. What the heck is going on? Dim underscore product. Yes. We go here. So this is the salespersons. So dim underscore salesperson. Okay, we're done with this right now. We can go to home, and from home, we just mistakenly click on this, and automatically it's loading into our Excel worksheet. I told you, do not do this mistake when you know you have like 5 million rows of data. Automatically, the Excel will shut down because the worksheet can only carry 1 point something million rows. So for that, do not make this mistake. Okay, now this data should be in our Power Pivot model because we want to create what we call relationship, and now it's here. How do we do it? So you can come over here. Once you're here, you can right click on this, and you can see where it says load to. So now we're about to take it off from this particular place. So now we have here, create only connection, add this to the model. So we just go ahead and click on OK, and don't worry about this. Just click on OK again. Now it has disappeared. It's going into the same place where others are. And that is what you do. Okay, and the beautiful thing is this. What if this is closed and you're thinking like, how do I get here? Oh my goodness, don't worry about it. So go over to data, and here you have the queries and connections. So click on it, and you have this up. So to go back to Power Query right now, click on any of the table. Like over here is refresh. So if you just hover and you step in quickly, you can see edit, you can see delete in case you want to drop the table, and you can actually check the table quality right here and see what it is, and you can click on edit, and that takes you right in here. So if you don't have the need right now, you do not need to go ahead and click on this, because over here is actually even great. It's not some kind of clickable any longer. Just click on it and it will actually take you back right here, or you double click, and once you double click, it jumps you right here as well. So now that you have known all of this, the next thing we have to do right now is to go ahead and take a look at all our tables. So for that, there is no need to keep this. Okay, so click on this particular Power Pivot, and I told you you're going to have this particular icon. So go ahead and click on it. And right now we have all our tables, right? All our tables. So there is one table that is not here, and that is the date table. The date table, is that important? This is Excel, not Power BI. Yes, we can customize our date the way we like when we have a date table to be used. So quickly before we come back here and run our relationships, let's do that. So click on data, queries and connections, double click on any of the tables right here. And now we have our data here. Okay, here we have the fact table. Under the fact table, we have a column here, which is date. So what I'm going to do right now to create my date table is to right click on this particular one and click on duplicate. So remember, this one is actually some kind of relying on this first fact table right here. So I'm going to do date I can just do dates and I hit my enter key. Now I have my date table. But wait a minute, we have lots of column, of course. Yes. So I'm going to go ahead and navigate and highlight the column here, then go over here and say remove other columns. So we have this one single column. The next thing I'm going to do right now is to perform one other thing, which is going to be this remove here. You just go ahead and remove duplicates. And that way to get to remove duplicate is to right click and just say over here, remove duplicates. So now we have the unique list of dates right in here for our date table. So quickly to create a date table, we just need to add some couple of columns to it. So adding those columns, we need to use the add column feature and come over here. And the first thing we want to extract is the year. So we can extract the year. So, but we have one single year right here. There's not need. So in case we have more years coming, we can have a year column. So go back to this particular column, click over here, and we go to months. We click on name of month, and can just name this one month. So this month is some kind of too long. We want to use a short format. So how do we do that? Right now we have to go to what? Go to transform, because we want to transform this existing column. We do not want to add a new column again. So for that, we have to be on transform to do this. So on transform, we can see where we have extract. So extract the first character. So click on that. Now we extract the first 3 characters. Just click on OK. Now you have this. Very short, right? So once you click on this, you have this right here. So because this month is not going to be according to January, February, March down to December, we have to find a way to sort it. So for that, click back right here. Don't forget to click on add column. So go over to date and click on we go over to here, number, that is the month. So it gives you the month number. You can see 12 is December, 4 is April, and 7 is July. Right? So what you're going to do right now is just for you to actually say month number. Or month num for month number. Don't worry, even later you know why we're doing this. So click over this one again and click over here. We are going to week and week of year. Once you click on the week of year, oh no, sorry, this is not what I want. Go over here again. So click on this, click on day. So name of day. So gives you this. Click on transform. Go over here. Extract the first 3 characters to make it short. Put 3 right in the box. We click on OK. Then we have something as short as this. So we can name this one weekday. So as well, the weekday would not be sorted. We need to actually sort the weekday by the week number. So how do we create that? Quickly come back here. Go to add column. So we go to day and I think it's going to be day of week. Okay, day of week should run into 606. If it's starting from 1, it's going to be 7. So now this is what it is. All right, with this now, we want to create what they call weekend or weekdays. We want to find if a particular week falls on weekend or it falls on weekday. How do we do that? So if you look at Saturday, Saturday falls on 6, and let's search for Sunday. So Sunday falls on 0. So which means 0 and 6 now would definitely be weekends. So let's add that. So go to add column, click on conditional column here. So we put this week type. So we'll call this week type. So we just come over here and say if the day of week, which is our week number, if it is equals to 6, we add on that one. Then day of week is equals to 0. So what do we call them? We call them weekend. This one should be weekend, and otherwise it will be weekday. So we're done. We just go ahead and add. So for where we have 6, we have this. where we have 0. If I scroll down, you can see 0 will give us weekend again. The remaining one will give us weekday. This is what you can do to actually have this done. I think this is almost what I want to add. So what about quarter? We can go over here, click over here, and now we can see the quarter. So quarter of year. Now we have quarter 1, 2, 3, and quarter 4. But we cannot use number to get our quarter, right? So what do? We add Q or normal quarter to it. So we're going to turn this number to a string right now. So by going to transform, we can do that. And where could we do that? Click on this particular format right here. We can see where it says add prefix. So click on add prefix. Now what we want to add now is Q in capital letter and a dash. So we just click on OK. So we can see we now have this. Beautiful, right? Not complicated at all. So we are done with this. The next thing we have to do right now is to load this particular one straight up to Power Pivot. So don't forget to change this one to the week number. Week num for week number. It wouldn't affect this one. It would definitely give it the right one. So we use text. That is it. That is it. So go to home right here, close and load, then close and load too. So yes, it has been selected before. Here we have it. So quickly we can go to our data, and if we click on data, we can find this particular, go to the pivot window here, or you can click on this one and go through here. Depends on which one you actually want. So let's go through here and see how it works. So we still land that simply. So now we have the same date table. We have just loaded in. So now let us click on this particular diagram. So we have this particular view. So the first thing I'm going to do is to bring down this very one here. And now we can just arrange this, have this arranged. So let's go over here, move all the tables right in. Okay. So just set them up right here. Okay. How do we create a relationship? This relationship is going to save us from creating a very huge table that our pivot table can interact with. So with this right now, we are going to cut that off. So we don't have to denormalize our table. So we have to use a normalized table, right? So first of all, we get the customer ID. So we bring it up down to this particular customer ID right here. And that would connect it using one-to-many relationship. How do you know the many side? The many side has the asterisk or the star, and the one side has one. That is how it flows. So we go to the customer, the store ID, and we just pick the store ID and we locate the store. So the store ID should have, the store ID is the salesperson ID here. So let's drag it out of it. This one. Oh no. The store ID is store ID. Let's get this. Oh, sorry. We have to swap it. I'm going to bring this here. Coming. Let's see. This is store ID. Monthly targets. Oh, the store ID has no relationship with the fact table. I'm so sorry. Let's bring this over here. Now we can push this in here. Then push this in here. Let's create this particular connection first. The salesperson ID should go over to here. And the operation cannot be performed because another operation is in progress. What operation is in progress? Let's drag in this one as well. Okay, this one is done. Salesperson ID right now. We should be able to drag it in. So correct. So now we have done that. We have our date table. So the date table should be connected to the other table here. Other dates right here. So correct. Now for this particular one, we have monthly target. So we need to rename this quickly so that it can give us what we want. Double click on this one. If your tables are not properly named or the columns are not properly named, there'll be problems. So let's go to this particular one here. Then this one that says month, we can just say dates. That is it. So just click on this. It will reload itself. Look at it. So once done, let's quickly go over here again. So we can now say this particular date and we map it to this particular other date right here. And that gives you one-to-many relationship. So this particular table does not have direct relationship to this, but because this particular date table has a link to this table, it would definitely make this to some kind of flow, when it comes to relationships. This is what it is. So I'm keeping my many side. This one has to do with the many side. I'm keeping it down right here. And this is what it is. We have just connected all our tables together. And this is what you should be doing. If you don't know how this is done, just follow it step by step and take it slowly. You will definitely understand it. So here we go. Going back to this particular data view, it does not give us anything different. So we still have the same thing. It's just that we have some kind of relationship. We can connect our tables together with ease without bringing them all together. Okay, now this is not the only table we are going to create. So we're going to be writing what I call DAX, right? Data analysis expression. So for that, our DAX should be stored somewhere. So we need to create a blank table. To do that, go to data. From data, click on this. And I think it's going to be something like this. No. Where the heck is it? Let's find it. Okay, right from this particular, from other services, go down, you see where it says blank query. So click on blank query. It's going to take us to Power Query. Blank query takes us to Power Query. That is a good rhyme. Okay, we are here. We can name this one to calculations. So with calculations, what do we do over here now? Click on this and just put like 1 over here, then hit your enter key, and that one is here. So quickly you click on this particular part and you convert it to a table. It has been converted to a table for you. So you can have it named. You can just name it some kind of measures. So did this type, is it important? It's not really important. You can just change it to anything you like. That is it. So we have this table, despite that it has nothing in it, we want to utilize it inside our model. So what we have to do is to click over here, load to, and we choose the connection only and go with this. So we have this table here. Don't worry, in case you're doubting, what the heck are you going to do with this? I'm going to show you what this is going to be used for. And this is all we have to do. What about this? Okay, now we still have some kind of blank worksheet. What do we do next? It is time for we to create our first pivot table and create our first chart and start analyzing this data. So the very first thing we're going to do is to go back to this particular Power Pivot again and go to this particular manage, and we're here. So I forgot, we need to create another relationship between two tables, and that's going to be this particular store ID linked to the salesperson right here, because we have this turning right in here. So I forgot that, please pardon me. So after what I've done this, what next? You can see over here we have the pivot table. You can click here and that creates a pivot table for you. Then with this, we can just go and say we want to have a new sheet. Click on OK, and it actually keeps it on a new sheet for you. Okay, I'm going to get this one deleted and show you another way to actually have it done. So deleted, fine. So now you are here. Click on data. From data, oh sorry, click on insert. Click again. So click on insert, and from insert you have this particular power pivot right here, or pivot table rather, pivot table. And you can see from the data model right here. So do that and it's going to connect you. Existing sheet or new one. So let's go with the existing one. We're going to keep it here and click on OK. So we have the same thing right here. Okay, if you look at it, all the tables we loaded in are here and they have actually connection together. All right, the very first thing first is for we to actually calculate our total revenue. So I'm going to take you back again to show you something. I want to make sure you understand every single thing we are doing right here. So let's go to the data view. Inside the data view, we have what we call the fact table. In the fact table, we have the quantity purchased. This is the return quantity. This is the one that was returned. So we have the quantity purchased, which is the quantity sold. We have it right here. But we do not have the prices, the cost, and all of that right in here. So if we want to look at that, we go into the product table. And here we have the sales price and the sales cost right here. So we need to create the, the revenue between these two tables. So to do that now, let me show you. We are back here. So I want to make sure I have my pivot table selected. I go right to this particular pivot, and over here I have what is called measures. So I'm going to click on my measures, and here I'm going to click on new measure. So with new measures, you can see the table we have selected here under the table name is actually the customer table. I can actually change it to calculations. So which means this measure we're about to create would be stored inside this particular, calculation table that was blank. So I'm going to call this one total revenue. So for my total revenue, what I'm going to do right now is to use a function that is called an iterator. If you're very familiar with Power BI, you will definitely understand it. So we call it SUMX. The SUMX function is actually looking for a table. And the first table I'm going to use now is actually my fact table right here. And I'm going to say this fact table has a relationship within that table. And how do I re-establish the connection again? I use related. So with my related function, I can actually say, okay, it is related with the price table. So I'm going to go with the price first. So have it closed. So after this, I'm going to multiply it by the quantity inside our fact table, the quantity sold. So we can go ahead and close this. So you can see how simple this looks right now. Very simple. So we have the SUMX, we brought in the table, which is our main table. We have related table, and this related table has to do with a table that has a connection in our model to this particular fact table. And again, we have it multiplied by the quantity sold, which is very, very simple. So what I'm going to do right now is to just go ahead and click on currency. From currency, I just want to go with the $sign. I just have to make sure I take off the decimal places and then I click on OK right here. So this is beautiful. We can now see we have our first calculation, which is our revenue right in here. So our revenue is ready. We need to calculate our costs. It's not really something very hard. We can just go back to the same place. Let's go ahead and click on this, the new measure. And do we have to do this from the scratch? I guess no. What should we have done? Let's go over and copy the previous one. But for the learning purpose, we can just do this again from the scratch. Then you can take a very good look at what I've done. So I still have my calculation table selected. So here is going to be my cost. Cost of goods sold. Then over here is a description. If you want to give a description to this, is your choice. So still using the SUMX fact table, then comma. I can do this to indent it. And I have a related table, which is going to be my cost. So I can go ahead and close this. Now I can have this multiply by what? Multiply it by the quantity sold, right? And I have this done. So if you look at it, very simple. This is for me to indent it so that we can see it not in a straight line, but something we can read. So the sum x is actually looking for a table. And after that, we connected it using related table. And do this, we multiply this one price here by the quantity sold. So you can check if this is correct. And it says no error in formula. So go with the currency. And from here, we just do currency, just do this. And we click on OK. And that gives us something like this again. So what about this? Is it hard? It's absolutely very, very simple. All right. The next thing again is for we to actually create the profit margin between this particular cost of goods sold and total revenue, which I believe you can do. So we'll do the same thing again. New measure. And over here, we just name this one to profit margin. And for the profit margin, what we do is for we to actually subtract our total revenue from the cost of goods sold. So with this particular bracket, it brings only the measures you've created for you. You can select between them. And now we subtract this very cost of goods sold from it. And that is all. So check the formula always to make sure it's correct. So right now it's going to be this, and take off the decimal places. So we have this. So this is the profit margin that you have. So we need to create the profit margin percentage, whatever. So let's do it. So profit margin percentage, I would love to put my percentage here. So over here, I have a function to be used. That function is called divide function. So with the divide function, what you're going to do is to divide your profit margin by your total revenue. That gives you the percentage of your profit. So now we do this. This is the profit margin. We have a comma. Then the next thing is going to be our total revenue. So we go ahead and have it closed. This is what you have to do. And we just check out what we have done. If there is no any error, so we're good to go. So we just go ahead and get it. And like, this is percentage. So now number, go to this particular part and click over this. So if you want to leave extra decimal places, you can do that. I can just go ahead and get this done. And you can see it's actually 42.18%. which is something very, very important, right? That you should calculate. Okay, we're doing KPIs, so we need to add more. So we go back right here again. Now we can actually do new measure and we do transaction, numbers of transaction. So numbers of transaction now would be you using count rows. So count rows does what? Count rows count the number of rows in a table. So, and what table are we going to use? We're going to use the fact table. That is where we have our transaction recorded on a daily basis. Every single second when somebody comes into our store, we have his or her record inside the fact table or the transactional table. So for that, when we want to count how many transactions do we have today, yesterday, and all that, so we have to use the fact table. So we're going to be dealing with number here, and the whole number is what we want to use. Whole number, we have a comma separator, and that gives us the numbers of transaction we have. So we have 20,000 transactions, which is very, very important. Okay. So do we have to do quantity? Yes, we can do quantity if we want that. So now we want to see total quantity return, and we want to see the most important part is actually the refund and the refund rate. So to calculate the refund right now, it's a little bit technical. I'm going to show you. So let's go over here again. So we click here, we click new measure, and so I'm going to call this one total refund. So for total refund, we're going to do the same thing. Sum X. So with the sum X right here, what I'm going to do, I want to give it a table. So fact table, comma. So in the fact table, we use related, just like the previous one. So we go to return. I think it's going to be quantity return. Is going to be product table. Okay. Fact table, a related table. Do we have to do this over a related table? No, isn't it? So, okay, it's not over the related table, but in the same table, we just type in return. So here is our quantity returned from the same table. So we multiply it by what? We multiply it by the price. So this is where we have to use the related table. So we can use it first or we can use it last. So related. So now we go for price. So we set price right here. So we can go ahead and close this. So if you look at it, it's the other way around. So you might be thinking, what the heck are you doing? So previously, this particular related table comes first before this particular one, which is after the fact table, we bring in the related table. So right now, don't worry, it's correct. Can just go ahead and do this, and it's telling me something weird happened. So the expression is not valid or appears to be incomplete. This error we have here is as a result of a bracket we have not completely closed. No matter how we try to fix it using this particular button, it's not going to be fixed. So for that, we have to close one more bracket. So the bracket is being closed. Let us test it out and see. Now it has been fixed. So which means the sum X we have opened here has not been closed then. So this is going to be currency, and we go over here. We just do this and we click on OK. And that calculates for us the total refund that we had. You understand? So for you to understand this particular total refund is that we have quantity sold to people, and from this quantity we sold to them, they return some part of it. Or some persons even return the whole things that they purchased, so we have to refund them back their money. So we want to actually account for how much did we refund to them. And that is what actually brought this right here. Very important for you to take note of. So don't forget to save your work is absolutely important. So save it somewhere that you can remember to retrieve it from if need be. Otherwise, you might encounter some kind of difficulty in Excel that everything shuts down automatically. We have the refund rate here. That is actually how much we returned from this particular total revenue we have generated. So right now, what we need to do is to actually calculate the rate of refund that we have. So to calculate the rate of refund is very easy. It's actually going to be a division between this particular, our refund and the total revenue we have generated. So we can now know the rate of refund. So this will not actually make us understand what I'm talking about. Let's quickly go over to Power Pivot. So make sure when you do that, you click over here, then it will automatically be added to this for you. So now we go over to New Measure. So we can call this one now. Make sure we select where we want our measure to go, Calculations. So we type in refund rate. So for refund rates, it's very easy. So we have a function in Power BI, sorry, in DAX. I'm not going to say Power BI because I don't want to confuse you. So in DAX, that is actually divide. So we use the divide function. I think is divide. So the divide function will definitely divide for us the total refund that we have. So we have the total refund here. So we divide that by what? We divide that by the total revenue, which is this particular one. So for alternate result, in case we have division by 0, so we can handle the error using 0. So it's optional. If you don't want to keep it right there, that's fine. You just take that 0 off. So with this, we can go ahead and actually have it closed. So now check the formula. So which is actually right. So we are dealing with number, but not just number, we're dealing with percentage. So if we want decimal places, we can leave it at 2 and don't even check this. Go ahead and click on this. So the refund rate is actually 8%, which is approximately low. It's not really high. So if we have a refund rate at 50, 60, 70%, that means we should take a lot of action. So for now, it's not really bad. So we can still manage this, but we can actually try to tackle it to even have it lower than this. The next one right now I'm going to show you is to actually show you how to calculate the total products that we sell currently. So this is something very important that you should actually understand. I'm going to let you know something right now. So we have two types of table. So here we have the fact table. So we have the dimensional table. So for the fact table right here, it actually handles all your transaction on daily basis. The dimensional table will only handle something like the customer, the salespeople, the product, and all of that. So anything that has to do with day-to-day transaction will be stored in here, which means if any customer that had been existing in our system before make a purchase like 100 times, the customer still remain one here and he's going to have 100 transaction in this particular table. Same thing to a salesperson who made a sales of 50,000 times right here would appear just once right here. So for that, if you want to calculate how many product you have sold, remember one product in the product table appeared once here, but this particular product table might be sold for 500 times or 50,000 times or even beyond. Over here it remains one. So this is the thing. If right now you want to calculate how many products have you sold over time, you cannot calculate it at dimensional table level, because if you do that, it will give you the numbers of products that were sold that were some kind of unsold together, which is going to be some kind of error calculation. So what you can do right now, maybe we have like 20 products right here, so that has IDs. So if only 10 IDs here had been sold, 10 IDs is going to leave this table and actually come into this particular table. So definitely if you use your count here over here, the extent count over here is going to calculate 10. So if I do the same thing over here, it's going to calculate this 20 for me. So for that, it will be hard for we to get the actual number of products we have actually sold. So how do we get this done? Let me show you. So make sure you still have this one clicked. So the next thing we're going to do right now is to go over to the same Power Pivot. We go to new measure, we click on new measure. So we are still on calculation where we want to store it right in. So I'm going to just say number of product. So over here, I'm going to do the extent count. So the extent count we have right here, if you look at it, it counts the number of extent value in a column. So why are we using extent count in Excel? We're using extent count in the fact table, which is our transactional table, because we want to calculate only extent value right there. We might have one single ID to appear like multiple times, 100, 200, 300, even depends. So now we're calculating that particular ID that appeared 20 times 1. That is why we have to use the extent count right here. So with the extent count, what we actually need is a column. You can see right here, we have an IntelliSense that shows us column name. So we're going to get a column name in, and that is going to be inside our fact table. When we just type it in, we go down, we have this particular one that says fact table product ID. So this is what we have right here. Can you see that now? So go ahead and check if that is cool. Then we check number. We put it on a whole number. Whole number. We use the comma separator in case it runs into 1,000. And we just click on OK. This is all we have to do. So very simple, not complicated. So what about this? Okay, if you check it right now, behind the scene, we have actually did this. So we added the total quantity returned and the quantity sold right here. Oh, sorry, I mistakenly double clicked on it and it's going to open a new sheet for me. Delete. So now what if we want to actually edit it? Maybe right here, this is too long. We want to just do total quantity not sold. So how do we do that? So come over here to where you have all your measures stored in the calculations table. So scroll all the way down right here. So you can find this. So just click on it. When you right click, you're going to find edit and delete, right? Very important. So we're not going to truncate this. Instead, we're going to edit this. Click on the edit measure. So over here, you can just do this, have this removed from here. And now we're good to go. So you can check to see if there is any issue. There is not. We have a check mark that actually says is okay. So go ahead and click on OK, and it has updated this automatically for us. So we have one single measure we have not added yet. That is going to be the target. Very important. So let's quickly go right here and we add a new measure. So right now we're going to do total target. So for this now, we're going to use the sum function. So in case you don't understand what the sum function here does, in DAX, the sum function aggregates a single value, just like the sum function in normal Excel, sheet. So, but we don't have the sum if and the sum if else here. So we have the sum function and we have the sum x function when we are using DAX inside Excel, just like what we have in Power BI. So the sum function aggregates one single value, while the sum x will definitely iterate through different columns and do multiplication for you, return whatever value it actually brings out as an output on the screen. That is all. So now we do this particular one. I'm going to put target here. So we have this particular one. Go ahead and close it. Always make sure you check before you hit the enter key. So go with this, and we are dealing with a currency. So let's select the currency here. So we don't want the decimal places. We just go ahead and click on OK. Then we have our target right here. So our target is actually 50 million. Okay, $5.2 million. So if we go this way, it's going to give us here this is 5.4, which means we are really cool with it. So now what is next? It is time for we to start creating our dashboard. All right, this is the first thing we want to achieve. I'm very much particular when it comes to creating a very nice background for my dashboard. Despite that I'm using white background, I try to make sure it pops out very well. And we are going to learn about this. So if you look at the chart I'm using right now, inside the chart here, so we have the target. So we have our revenue. So revenue is actually this particular figure here has to do with our revenue, which is this. So the bar is two combination. So the dark and the gray version of it, the gray version is actually for the target and the dark one is for the revenue. So now we have the variance in normal values like 2.4K variance and it's down. So here we have plus 16.1, which is great. So we have the variance in percentage. So 4%. Here we have 46% growth, right? Okay. Aside that, we now have this particular aspect where we have the variance between our revenue and our target. So we are some kind of 11% on the growth. So if we want to check it out again and see how we can interact with this, so we can actually use this particular parts. So give it some time. It's going to go to the model and get things done for us. So now, as you can see, it's changing what we have right here. So you can see based on July target were not met. So it was down by 5%. And we have this particular nice indicator to show us exactly what is going on. So can you create this? If you can, pause this video, go ahead and do the creation, come back and let's see what you have done and compare it to what you would learn. All right, we have done seeing this. The next thing right now is to start creating hours from the scratch. Let me show you how we can get that done. So we're right here. The very first thing I'm going to do is to actually insert a blank sheet. So with the blank sheet right here, what we can do is to make sure we go right here, click on any of this and click over here and use full screen. That gives you a very nice look. The next thing again is for you to click inner part of it, then go to view, and now the grid lines, the formula bar, and the header. So for the formula bar, it's going to be on and off. So which means we'll turn it on, we'll turn it off, depends on our usage. So if we need it, we bring it back on. That is what we're going to do. Okay, next is for we to quickly do Ctrl A to highlight every single cell inside our worksheet. Then we go to the top ribbon right here and we go to home, and from home we click over here and we select something like this very color that has 5% darker white. So our white is a little bit calm, which is something very, very important that you should actually know about. So with this right now, we want to create a header, but before the header, we just want to create a very little design. Let's go to insert, illustrations, shapes, and we start looking for what we're going to use. Let us use this. If I drag it down now, it looks something like this. So remember, we have different, what do I call it? We have different system screen size. So we just go to the top level. So use mine. If it doesn't fit what you want, you can actually, adjust a little. So let us go with 8.01. That is the height, and the weight should be 4.94, which is going to be 4.94. Okay, we have something like this. It's not making any damn sense right now. You'll be like, what the heck are you going to do with this? Don't worry, you'll find out. So we need to flip this. We don't have to do it manually. Go over to rotate, and we flip horizontally like this. So once flipped, we can control this particular part. So I'm going to push it in here like this. Then over here, I can just control this, the curviness, how I want it to be. I don't want it to be too curvy. Maybe I want something like this. Or still, let us leave it at the original version like this. So with the original version, this is how it goes. Take it in a little bit. So now we need to decide which color do we want to have for this. So we're trying to use a white background, so we don't have to put much colors in. So go over here. First of all, you turn off the lines, and to the fill color, we just click on this one and we select this as our fill color. You understand now? Okay, if we've gotten this as our fill color, if you remember, you can see that this particular color is the different color from this one. So for that, it's actually reflecting over here. How do we actually close this gap? Let us quickly go to the top ribbon, view, and headings. Now, importantly, we need to get this here. So I'm going to just come over here now and select this particular, select this side. I'm going to select this side and go to the top ribbon here, click on here, we'll click on this. Now we have actually, closed it. But this one is reflecting here. What do we do? So we just try to trace it. So let's take this up. So if I move this now, you can see it's affecting my shape. So Ctrl Z to bring it back. So what I'm going to do right now is to click on my shape, click over here, go to size, and oh no, not size. I think it's properties. Go to properties and say don't move all size with cell. That is cool. So let's get it off now. That has been done for us. So over here, I'm going to just push this in a little bit. Then on this particular part, 6, no, it's going to be on 5. On 5, we move this in. Just give it some time. Now, but the thing is this, does it solve the problem? Almost. So another way to get this done is very simple. If that is not giving you what you want. So that's the simplest way to get it done. Let me show you. I'm going to move this and keep it here. So we go to the top ribbon. We click on insert, click on this shape. We just take this flat one. We drag it. So we click on this. We go over here. We click on home. We just get this. Now we have this color. So we have just balanced that. That is exactly what you need to do. You get it? So Ctrl D to get it down here. Okay, on this one now, I'm going to do Ctrl 1. So with my Ctrl 1, I'll bring it over here. You can stretch it to make it bigger so that we can see it well. So I'm going to use the gradient fill, right? So for the gradient fill, what are we going to do? What we're going to do right now with the gradient fill we have actually added is for we to change this color and make it look some kind of very, very unique on our report. So I'm going to have 3 steps. Instead of me having 2 steps, I'm going to have 3 steps. So on this stop at the edge is going to take my color, which is the same color of my background, which is this particular one with 5%. This one will take the same thing as well, the one with 5%. This very middle one here will take a white color. So we'll take white. You get it now. So over here, we're going to come and try to change it to a different direction. So let us select this one. So if I click over this one at the edge, I'm going to come here now and just have it transparent to 40 something percent. So at this one here, we do the same thing to it. Right. So we can stretch it. So what we need to do right now is to get the exact dimension we want to actually use for it. So let's go over here to the top ribbon to be on the same page. So at this particular one, the height should be 0.460 let's do 56. That is the width. Then the height should be 9.97, which is gonna be 9.97 is the this is the width. Now the height is what we've done previously. So we have something like this. We can now bring it over to the top here. Do you see this now? This is what it is. So now we can control how we want this to reflect. So let's go over here. Let us remove this transparency and see. I'm trying to see something here. Okay, without transparency now, this is what we have. And I think I enjoy having something like this. So we've taken off the transparency we've added. We've taken it off from it. So check it out again. The transparency had been taken off and we have 0 transparency. So now we have this. This is where our header is going to live. Very importantly. Okay, the next thing is for me to go to the top ribbon, go to insert, illustrations and shapes. And from there, we just go with this particular rounded rectangle, this one here. This one looks cool, but I am not feeling myself using this. I want the one that has top edge and top top edge and bottom edge being curved. So it's within this particular one here. I think it's gonna be this one. So we can drag it down. This is what I actually want. Okay, with this now, I'm gonna keep it right here. Give a white space at the top here because it's very important. So we stretch it. So we bring this down. So quickly, let's go ahead and turn off our gradient, headings. So it gives us more room to get this. So just this part. The curveness should not be too much. So this is what we have. Let's bring it down a little bit. Something like this. It's cool. Okay, with this now we do Ctrl+1 again. We come over here. We do this, and over here we take off the line. Now this is what we have for now. So one beautiful thing I love about this is that we build it for once and we actually replicate it and give it to other dashboard we want to create in this same workbook. So once we have gotten this, the next thing I'm going to do is just to make sure I Ctrl+D, and on this one, I would love to do Ctrl+1 again. Now, before I do anything, let's just make this a bit smaller. So it will be in the middle of it for us to see what we're doing very well. So go to the effects here. From effects, go to shadow. From shadow, click on this one. Then click on this one that has something like this. So pretty too much. If you create a dashboard on this, it's going to look very ugly. So for that, let's do some kind of reduction. So click off and look at what you have. Are you some kind of sat-seated with this? Click it again. do this, and you have this. I think this is some kind of normal. I love this already. So this is going to be right here. Right here. So go to the top ribbon again. Click on this shapes and this circle. So to drag a perfect circle, you don't do something, okay? If you just dot it down, you have this. But if you start stretching it like this, you still start seeing having like an egg, oval, something like that. So it's not going to be pretty fine. So I'm going to delete it and show you how to get a perfect one. Go back again. Now click on the circle you want. Sorry, let's do it again. Insert illustrations, shapes, and the circle. Hold your shift key down. You can drag it and make it bigger as you want. Even when you step off, anytime you want to resize this, make sure your shift key is held down. You can resize it and to give you perfect circle without distorting it. So we have something like this. I'm going to use the same color as my background color. So I use this with 5%. I come over here to curve the line. I bring it over here. I click on this one. Now, okay. Yeah, let's click on it. Now I'm going to do send to back. Send to back. So with it being sent to back, I'll click on this one. I'll send this one to back. So it will reflect this one here for me. So I'm going to do this. I don't know if it makes sense to you, but this is what I want. So I'm going to hold my shift key to some kind of stretch it more. So I want something like this. It looks fine for me. All right, we have this. It is time for we to get this one duplicated. Now we can just reduce this to the side. Bring this here. Reduce at the bottom here. So at this edge, we just reduce it a little bit like this. So if we step off now, we have something like this. So we are done with this. Now we can actually use this multiple times. It's white background. We have actually piled up a lot of shapes. So if you take this step by step, you will definitely achieve the same thing I've achieved right now. So it's the high time we start with something. Okay. First of all, let's go over here where we have our pivot table. We want to actually make sure we have this pivot table named. Every single pivot table we create has to be named. So go over to the top ribbon, click on this particular pivot table, analyze, click over here. You can see this is what it is. I'm going to name this one KPI. So the question you might be having in mind right now is that, why are you doing this? Why must you name your pivot table? We have name for it, 1, 2, 3, and 4. No, I don't want to use pivot table 1, pivot table 2, because it's going to confuse me when I'm trying to do my connection when it comes to connecting my slices. So for that, having a particular name would make you to remember it. So now we have this. So if I want to use the same pivot table right now, what you can do is just to copy this, Ctrl C to copy. Then we go far right here and paste this right in here. So you might have another question in mind right now. To those of you who is just using pivot table for the first time or barely use pivot table, but trying to actually up your game. Don't actually create pivot table beneath each other. Mostly if your pivot table would grow vertically. And as well, if your pivot table is going to grow horizontally, let me demonstrate this to you and then you see what I'm talking about. So here, we have this one already. This one, it will not grow vertically, but it can grow horizontally. So we can decide to add more KPIs now. That was why I'm giving this. If I know I'm going to add like 10 KPIs, so I'm going to give more spaces than what I have right now. So if you create a pivot table that is actually like month, we have 12 months, right? Maybe at the start of a business, you just have like 3 months of data. So this particular 3 months will grow to 4, we grow to 5, we grow to 6, 7, 8. So if there's a pivot table right here when you have the 7th month and you add another pivot table here, and this one grows, it destroys this one and your report will be messed up. You get that? That is it. So for that, be very careful with how you position your pivot table when you create one. So we have gotten this one right here now. I'm going to take off everything, excludes 2. Let's do hide. So take off the profit, take off the cost of goods sold, the profit margin. This one here, total refund should be taken off. We take this off. Sorry for that, guys. We just have to take this off. So we are left with 2. So we want to analyze this based on our store. And if you look at here, we only have available just the calculations. Where is our other table? So whenever you actually use a particular table, you have it as active. So the ones that had not been used is under all. So we click under all right now. So we are looking for our store. Our store should be under salespersons. That is where we have it right then. So we have the store name. So I'm going to click on the store name. Automatically, the store name knows where to go. So it's a text. It's going to go into the rows. That is where descriptive information goes into. So for this one, it's actually trying to read and see if you have connection between the 2 tables. Of course we do. So we can just go ahead and take this down. So here we go. So with this right now, we want to use this to create our chart. And the chart we're going to create right now is a custom chart. Let me show you where to get it from. So make sure you have this clicked on first. Once you have this clicked on, go to the top ribbon here and click on developer. So clicking on developer, you click on this particular add-ins. So it's not a chart that is available here. So already I have the chart here. In case you do not have the chart or you have not used this chart before, go ahead and click on store. So make sure you're using something like Excel 2020, 1 and above. I doubt if we have it inside Excel 2019 because I'm using a very current version right now. So we can come here and you search for zebra. I think it's zebra. Let's do search. So when you search for zebra, you have these 2 charts from zebra. If you're using Power BI, you might have used their visual before now. So the one I'm going to use right now is the one that says table. You click on add. Already I have it added. So you now have it right on your PC. So we don't need to get it again because we have it already. So go to my add-ins and I'm going to click on the one that has table and just click on this and it's going to add this for us. So look at it. This is analyzed without we doing anything. You can see how swift it is for we to actually get this generated, right? So let's go over to our own dashboard. So I'm going to cut this away from here. Ctrl X. So we come over here. So we Ctrl V to paste it down. So it's going to load again. So we have it. So we make sure we manage the space we have right for it. So just make sure this. So we go with this and okay, something like this looks beautiful. We have just created our first chart without using the native chart we have inside Excel. This is what it is. So we need to do some customization. But one thing is this, if you come over here, you'll find different charts you can use. If I click on this now, you have this, right? So if I click on this, it sorts. So you can do different things with this. So here is giving you the difference in value, the difference in percentages, and all of that, right? I want to see if I can try to create something different. Let's do this. You know, I told you to disallow having something here. Let me not break that rules now because sometimes I break it, but I'm very sure if I'm breaking it, why I'm breaking it. So right now I'm just going to create something like this. So bring this down here. So now if you look at our pivot table, it's actually showing row labels, so which is not readable. Nobody can tell what this particular categorical value is all about. So what I'm going to do right now is to go to the top ribbon and click on design and click on report layout and click on tabular form. So when we go back right now, we see this turning right in here. So just get it off. So we have this. Let us create the same thing with this very one right here. So highlight it, go over developer add-ins. So we choose the one that says table, not charts. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. It seems if we use pivot table, it wouldn't give you the value. Let's just look at what is going on here. Now, check out this particular one. This value here has to do with your revenue. Your target. This is your revenue. Target revenue. So quickly before you go, click over here and just come here and name this one to your target. Right? So we have named it as our target. So we messed things up. I mistakenly shifted it unknowingly. So I'm going to delete it and recreate it again. So pardon me for that. So we do the same thing. We already have the table here. We click on it. So we have two things here. So this one here controls your revenue for you. So click over this drop down and it's going to open this for you. So you can type in here revenue or total revenue. So we need to edit it a little bit. So this one should be about your target. Just type in target here. So here we go. We have our target. If you want to cross check and see if this is true, so you can see from here, let's some kind of come over here and highlight it. Let's do this. So we can do number. Let's do number. We are going to do number format later after all. So click on OK. So this here is actually giving you some kind of let us check which particular one is this. This is it here. So can you see it now? So 4 here is your target. Then 565 here is your revenue. This is how it is. So I'm going to come back here now and get this one deleted because we don't want to keep this. That doesn't give us value for targets. So now we get this one into that particular place. We can shrink it a little bit. So let's do this. Ctrl X over here. We paste it. It loads and we have it here. So we just make something like this. Okay, here we go. So if you look at it, we have header here. This header can be some kind of changed. So total revenue versus total targets. So yes. So we don't use by category. We can say by store. We use store name. By store, just by store. So let's do this. Hidden target to update it. So we have it updated. And if we click on it again, we can increase this like this. So we want to increase it. So we want to give it the color. Let's go with something that looks like this color here would be great. That is it. So we click on save. That's been saved. Then here we go. So we have this now is going to be variance. Just type variance here. Variance. So here we type in variance percentage. So just remove this part. So here we have variance percentage. So now if you look at this, this has to do, excuse me. Let me stretch it. Okay, if we stretch it too much, it get this some kind of distorted and this particular target will go. So let's do something like this. It's still showing up. Okay, now we're going to leave it at this. Then instead, we're going to increase the weight of this to cover up for this for us. So now we want to show this now. So you can see on hover, it hovers every single store and it compares it for you. So over here, when you click on this, you have a lot of things that you can do with this particular part right here, which is not really important to what we're doing right now. Let us leave it that way. So I'm just going to go to the top ribbon, go to insert and quickly this particular text box here. So there is no provision for what this one is all about. So we want to give it a name. So let's bring it down here. So Control 1, then turn off this, turn off this. Let's increase it a bit. So here is our store. It's well understood now that this is actually store names. This is our target. This is the revenue. So when we now come over to this particular part now, we have different lines. So you might want to use of this overlap. So when we use overlap now, it gives us two lines. So whenever our target is beyond our revenue, you can see the one that has to do with gray is our target coming from behind. So it shows that the target is actually beyond revenue. And we have actually this one here that shows us how much we have actually went down when we compare it to our revenue. And we have the percentage, 15% down, right? So we have on that choice, depends on what you really want to use. So this one is another thing you can actually use. I don't really buy the idea of somebody using this because it's crazy. I don't like it. So we can choose to use this one. Stay crazy. Depends on what you want to achieve. So based on what we want to achieve right now, let's go with something like this. And I think this is quite really good for us to get. Okay. We now have something like this, which is very much beautiful. And this is done without we using the inbuilt chart we have inside Microsoft Excel. So let's see. Okay, for the very first time, let us quickly connect Slicer to this. So what I'm going to do now is to go over to where we have the calculation right in. So we can name this one analysis 01 because we're going to have lots of sheet to run our analysis. So this is the pivot table I'm using, right? I'm going to click over here now. So if I click over here, I will definitely go over to this particular place and click on date here. So for my date, I have the month. I'm going to go with the month and actually add slicer. So adding slicer gives me this. So if you look at it now, my month is not actually accordingly. In case you're doubting what I'm talking about, so I mistakenly double click this. Let me have it deleted. Okay. In case you don't get it right now, let's create a new pivot table. Copy this previous one. Come over here. So drop this one here. So now let's see this in view. So we have this one. I'm going to take off everything because I don't want to have any value right here. Take off this as well. Then we go over here and we click on the month. So when we click on the month starts from April. Even though we try to analyze this based on any other, any other measure right here, right now, it's still like that. You understand? So how can we reset this and how can we fix this issue? That was why, if you remember vividly, inside Power Query, we created a column that has to do with the month number, right? You remembered. So let's go through our Power Pivot, manage here, and we'll locate the date table, which is going to be this very one. Then make sure you highlight the month. We have gotten it highlighted. Then we locate where it says sort by column. So click on it and say, click on the sort by column here. Then wait for it. Now click over here. Then look for the month number and click on OK. Done. So the same issue would happen to this particular weekday right here. So we have to quickly sort the weekday. And when we click on this, we click over here. So we have the week number. We click on OK. Definitely, it has been done for us. So what else? Let's go quickly and take a look at what we have done.
So let us wait for it to update. It has been updated for us, and here inside our slicer, it has as well been updated. Can you see that? Beautiful. So quickly, this particular slicer should be connected to under slicer, right? But before then, this one has not been named. I'm just going to go over here and click on this, click over here. I'm going to say stop. I'm going to do underscore our revenue target so that I can have underscore being used so that it wouldn't just some kind of make it unreadable. So here we go, cut. We bring this here. We Ctrl V to drop this in. Now we keep this over here. We can use this to interact with our dashboard. You can see how it is, how things went. So in this particular month of June, we only have this particular month to be down. This store rather, these two stores rather. So you can see red, and even this one. But this one has the highest, downside a lot. So we can just check different months, and here we go. This is what it is. So clear the filter and you have everything the way it should be. So with this right now, we are not yet done. We want to actually make sure this particular slicer is in columns. Let's go over here. Before then, let's stretch this out. Go to the top level, ribbon, here slicer, the column. So we have these 4 columns, as I've said. So once we have these 4 columns, click again, and the height should be increased. It gives it some kind of beauty. I love it this way, right? Let's add one more, not too much. Let us reduce it. So something like this. So if I now go with this now, so we can now go ahead and right click, go to slider settings. So over here, this is the display name. So I'm going to say filter by month. So we click on OK. So we're going to actually work on this later after all, but for now, this is what we want to have. So I'm going to bring the slider down a bit to actually be in the same level with this one. So just take it up. This white space is very important for us. Okay, nicely done. So the next thing right now is for we to some kind of get this particular one, Ctrl D to duplicate it. So Ctrl 1 to bring this up, and here we choose this, right? Once we have this now, we can just go ahead and some kind of, then this shape here should be, let's do something like this. So Ctrl D to duplicate it. So on that one again, Ctrl D to duplicate it. So we have it duplicated. Hold your Control key to select all of them and make sure you distribute them horizontally. It's very, very important. So align, distribute. Oh, sorry, it's vertically, not horizontal. So vertically, it's already, it has been distributed. Then go over here and actually make sure you align it to the left. Then equally, it has been aligned the way it should be. All right. I'm going to go to the top again. Then insert illustrations, shapes, this circle, hold my Control key to get this little circle like this, right? So Control 1 to actually disappear the edge, and let's get this not too dark. We're going to go with something like this, a little bit darker. No, let's go with this. So now we have something like this. I can keep this right here. Very important. So Ctrl D to duplicate this, give it to this one, Ctrl D. So what I'm going to do right now is to hold my Control key, select all of them together. So they are not properly aligned. So we align them to the left-hand corner. So here we can see this is what we have. So this one is not in the middle of this. So let's go and try to see if we put it in this middle. That is nice. So we do the same thing over here. So if you want to do something very amazing, you have to spend some time getting this done. So don't forget, it's going to be in the middle. So this one seems to be in the middle of it already at default. Okay, with that, we can just go to the top ribbon again, go to insert, and we pick up this. Already we have it. So let's see, this one is some kind of interfering with this one. Let's move it up a little bit. After that, we can control it to duplicate it. Then let's move this over here, stretch it a little bit like this. Now we do total revenue. So this one will be target. So this one will be, I think it's going to be variance percentage. So this is what we want. So it is time for me to display this right now. So what do? We have to do something. We just need two things right here. What I'm going to do is just to go over here now, take this off. So all of those KPIs are not really important for us to be used right there. But before we do anything, we have to make sure this particular KPI is well formatted. So how do we go about the formatting is something very important that we need to look at. So I'm going to first of all select this particular one right here, and I'm going to do my Control-1, and I have this particular custom number formatting up. So with the custom number formatting right here, what I'm going to do is to just come over here and wipe this away from here, and we have something at default like this. So with this particular square bracket right here, I'm going to say when this one is less than or equal to 1 million. So when it is that, we have to close this bracket, and we're going to do $. We want to format it into a $. So $, we do 0.0, and for it to show it in million, we do 1, 2, that is 2 comma, so it's going to give us 5.4 million. So let's go back to the main original source here, which is this particular value. It's actually giving us 5,446,809. So now it has been shortened to this particular level, right? If you don't want it that way, you can do this, but I think having this is something very important. So we want to make sure we concatenate this particular M to it. It's going to give us 5.4 million US dollars. So we want to actually do 4,000. So we can do this, and that would actually give a break to it. You understand? So the next thing I'm going to do right now is for me to some kind of say, okay, this one now, use the same bracket. So it's less than or equal to 1,000. So we do this, and we just do $, again, 0.0, and here we do just one single comma for 1,000, and we put K right in here. So I think this is to my column. So now with this, now we can say, okay, otherwise we want to show 0, and that 0 should be, if it is actually in 2, 3, 4, 5, even 100, just show 100. Don't put K, don't put M, and you can do this into million, billion, trillion, and stuff like that. So we have this. Let us test this out and see if this is working. So first of all, I'm going to copy this. Sorry, what have I done? Go back. Is it existing? Oh no, mistakenly I've not hit the enter key. It has disappeared. All of a sudden I clicked somewhere else. So quickly, you have understood what I'm trying to do. So we just do this, greater than equal to. So we close this, we do this dollar sign, we do 0.0, comma, so we do so we do this to break it. And next again, we do 1000. So it's going to be greater than equal to 1000. So we close this. So we use the dollar sign again. So we do just one single comma. So here we do, before 0.01 comma, we do K, and we now say this, otherwise 0. So we have gotten this. Now we just click on OK. So because this one has to do with value that has to do with currency, having the dollar sign is not going to be a problem. So what we can do now to get this for every part of it is just to double click on that, use it for this, use it for this. Total refund, yes, and watch us give it to something like target here, quantity returned, and every other thing will not be given. So why? That was because they are not some kind of currency value. So for that, I'm gonna click on this, hold my control key. I'm gonna give this a different format. Let's see which other one again. Then what do? Control 1. So go to custom, scroll all the way down, choose the one we have just used, and take off all the dollar signs. So it's going to create a duplicate for us. So if we click on OK, right now you can see 100 remains 100 because we actually put it into consideration when we are doing this. Do you get it now? This is what you can actually do. All right. So, but for that of this, okay, I think it's okay. Let's go over here now. We can just copy and paste this. Let's go over now and turn on our formula bar. So now we can have this space to get value from here. So we go ahead for total revenue. We have our total revenue here. So quickly go here to home. So now we just need to increase this total revenue. So we choose a very calm color. So here is our total revenue. So we go for our budget. Let's grab our budget. Sorry, target rather. So for target. So we give this to target. So here we go. So what about this? So now it is time for we to work with our variance. So if you look at this KPI we have here, it's actually showing in green. So if I actually switch to July right now, so what July is going to give to us is something like -7, -5%. So it's like this because the target is higher than the revenue. So we have something like this. So you might be thinking, how did we create this? Let's show you how we did it. So we are right here on the one we're actually creating. The very first thing I'm going to do right now is to type in here revenue. So over here is going to be my target. Okay, so I have to bold it. So under the revenue here, I'm going to reference my revenue here, which is this is it, my total revenue. And under the target here, I'm going to reference my target. So which is this particular value we have right here. So with this now, we need to create another one. So this one is going to be called variance. So that is going to be the variance between the two numbers. So we bold it. So right now, to calculate the variance between the two numbers, what we're going to do is for we to actually say equals open bracket. So when we open the bracket, we're going to take this one and subtract it from this one. And finally, what we do is to close it and do division by this number. So
here we have something like this. Okay, now Control 1, now go over to percentage, and here we're going to show what percentage it belongs. So we have something like this. Do you see it now? This is what we have. It's giving us 8%. So what I want to have right here is actually, okay, let's see. We have 8%. If I go over here now and select like July here, let's see what we have. So for July, so we have it on minus 5%. So when we return it back to, let's say we select August, for example, August is giving us 12%. And I don't just want to have this percentage right here like this. I want to have plus and minus. Automatically, once it changes to negative value, it's giving us minus, but positive value doesn't give us that. So we have to actually trigger the format. So Control 1 again, we go over to custom here. Now we're here. Under custom, I'm going to actually clear this one off from here. So what I will do now, I am going to do plus 0.0%. Understand? And this I will do plus 0. Okay, this one will be minus 0.0%. So in case you can't see it very well here, what I'm going to do is to copy this one away from here. I've copied it. I'm going to show you. So let's come over here and paste it down. So this is what we have. This is what we have. So this will definitely give us this. You can see we have plus right now. So this is not all. So when it is equals to something positive, we want to have our green. When it is negative, we want to have red. So how do we go about that? So over here, I'm going to type in, I'm going to make a check rather. So let me move this one over here. So I'm going to make a check and say this is greater than 0. So when this is greater than 0, what do we have? We have true because it is greater than 0. So I'm going to check again. The same number is less than 0. Hit my enter. You can see we have true and false. So when it is greater than 0, we want to see something like this color. Let's go over here. Something like this. When it is less than 0, we want to see something, maybe something like this. So now we have a guide to create this. So this is not just all. As you can see, this number has no up and down arrow that we have on the previous one I've shown you. We want to add it. To add it up right now, double click and copy everything from here. Ctrl C to copy to my clipboard. It has been copied. So come to the back of it here and type if, right? So type in if now, we are asking question. If this particular number here, if it is greater than or whatever. So we're going to do if the number is greater than 0, comma. So if this is true, we want to have an arrow going up. So inside this quotes, your Windows key and the full stop on your keyboard. So it's going to bring these particular emojis up, and we have some icons from it. So click on this particular one here, which is the symbols, and click over this arrow pointing to the left and right, and scroll down a little bit. So we are looking for the arrow pointing up. So now we have it. So you can escape this. This is what we have right now. Do you get it now? So what if we go ahead and close and hit the enter key right now? Will it have the arrow? We do not have anything attached to the arrow. You understand? So what are we going to do? We want to make sure we concatenate the value, which is the percentage, to it. So now to do the concatenation, we have to come over here and do this ampersand. Then we use ampersand and what again? I'm thinking. Okay. Let's paste in this one I copied and let's hit the enter key. Now we have very huge number. This is where we have to be very careful. How are we going to actually format this? Do you think we can format this using Control 1 and change it to percentage? That doesn't work. No matter what we do here, it would not definitely work. So for that, no. So we have a function that can do this for us when it comes to mixing, text with number. That's going to be a string, right? So here is going to be at the back of this, I'm going to use a function called text. The text function will do the magic for me. So with the text function, I'm going to come at this particular part and do comma. So it's asking me, how do I want to format this? So here it's going to be 0.0%. Inside quotes, we close this, we do this. And if I hit my enter key right now, we cannot see we have our 12%. But unfortunately, if you look at it, our 12% gives us up arrow and the 12% is here. But where is the plus? The plus has been lost. So for that, we have to quickly look how we can actually add the plus. So what we can do right now is to just do this. Instead of we having this one here like this, we rather have something like this here. So I'm going to do plus 0.0%. So do this, and we do minus 0.0% again. So when I hit my enter key, we have the plus. So we have actually done this for the positive value. So what about it when it is negative? So when it is negative right now, so what can we do? We need to actually do for that. So I'm going to come over here and put a comma. Sorry. Let's do this. Where could that be? We can close this. Yes. Okay. Let's look at what we're gonna have here. This is the logical test. If it is true, we have this. If it is true, we have this. All right, I think right now, if you look at the problem happening, if we go to false, false is not giving us anything because false has already taken this one as the false value. So what we're going to do, we have to take off this particular bracket we've closed over here. We'll remove it from here right now. That will definitely pave way for we to actually use this one as our true. You get it? So when it was like this, it was like we have closed this and we have not given room for what? We have not given room for our false. So now we take this off. I'm sorry for that. Now here, this is going to be our logical test. Those ones here will be our true value, right? So our true value. So for the true value right now, we need to create for something else. So let's quickly do comma right here. So now if the value is true, what do you want? So when the value is actually false, rather. So when the value is false now, we want to have arrow going down. So inside this particular double quotes, we do window, full stop. We come over again and we select the downward arrow. So here we go. So we go ahead and select the downward arrow. This is it. So we close this. So we go ahead and close this. So once we have done this, we just have to do concatenation. That concatenation right now. So let's go ahead and change this because we want to see post the negative value. Let's go to something like July. Now we have the downward arrow. So what we're going to do now is just to say, okay, take this off first. For this now, we want to concatenate. So already we know that we have to use the text function.
text function here. The text function will be looking for a value, and that was the value we copied to our clipboard the other time. So we now have it here, and we place the comma right here. The format type right now should be something you have to be considered to be the one that has the plus and minus. So inside double quotes, we do plus 0.0%. You understand? Then when I have my comma right here, so look at here right now, you have it here. So in case you cannot follow up on this particular part, so follow up on the bar here, on the formula bar here. So now we do this. So it's going to be minus 0.0%. So we close and we go ahead and close this. When we hit our enter key, now we have it. Okay, fine. This is achieved. We need to some kind of try as much as we could to convert this to a color green and red. All right, let us make the conditional formatting right now. So because this one has element of the strange, like concatenation of a thing, so we might not get what we want from here. Instead, I'm going to create a new percentage that still look like this here, but not with the up and down arrow, whatever. So I'm going to do open bracket, my revenue subtracted from my target. So I close my bracket, I divide it by my target, and I have this particular percentage that looks like this, same percentage, right? Okay, now I'm going to have this highlighted. So go to the top ribbon, click on conditional formatting. Instead of we clicking on new role, so when we click on new role, we click again back to it before we create. Let us just go to manage roles. Then we'll click on new here. So when we are here, we can select this particular use formula to determine which cell to be formatted. And over here, I'm going to click on formatting. No, sorry, not formatting. So I'm going to click on this box. So I'm going to click on this now and say if this is actually less than 0. Let's do less than 0. Then we want to format using this color. Less than 0 should give us something like this, red. Click on OK. Click on OK here. Then if I click on apply now, nothing happens. And that was because it was not less than 0. So go ahead and click on new. Click over here again. Click on this. Click on the percentage. And we are following this color we have here. So go over here now and say if this is actually greater than 0. This time around, we go to format. We go over here. Now for greater than 0, we click on this. We click on OK. OK here. Now if I click on OK, I have this. So this is all we need to do. In this particular case, for us to make this clear, let's take this off. And we want to make our back end to look very clear. So I'm going to just put PCT over here. So PCT for percentage of variance. So remember, it's still the same thing. So we have gotten this. The next thing I'm going to do right now, I want to some kind of copy and move this something down here. So for a reason. So I'm going to do centralize like this. So I would have to increase, increase the font size like this. The next thing I'm going to do right now is for me to go over to view, then turn off my grid lines. So I have something like this. I can do Ctrl+C to copy. We are here now. We do paste as link picture. So paste as link picture. That is when we can get this particular color we have right here. So we have something like this. So remember, we can increase it to make it bigger, even without we doing it from the other end. This is what it is that we can just do with this. So how about this? This look quite well like what you're looking for. So let us interact with it right here now. If I click on July, July is down and I have this. So click on something like January. You see, this is very dynamic and it correlates with what we have right here. So select August, for example. August is actually 12 plus. This is what it is.
that you can do. Okay. Quickly, the next thing we have to do right now is to think about how can we make this particular slider to look beautiful on this dashboard, because right now it's looking very haggard. I don't like it. So we need to actually think of the design we can give to it. So first of all, we have to remove all the borders from here. When I talk about all the borders, I mean all the borders we have on it should be removed totally. Okay, let's go. Click on the slider first. Go over to the top ribbon. Click on slider here. Come over here and duplicate any one of your choice. I'm going to do this. Right click, duplicate. So for the whole slicer, I'll click on it here. I'll say border, no border. I'll go to fill. I'm going to fill it with white because my background here is actually white. I'm going to fill it up with white. So I click on OK. Okay. For the header here, the header, I'm going to go over to format. For the header, for the border, I'm going to take it off totally. Then for the font, I want to take italic. So this should be white. And we click on OK. Okay. Selected item with data now, we want to format it. And for selected item with data, we want to take the border off, but not totally. So for now, I'm going to turn it off to none. So I'm going to select this particular one here, and I want to have border at the bottom only, but not this dark one. Let's go with something like this for the time being. We can make a change here. This is what I want. So for the font color, we choose white as well. Then for the font itself, let's go with 12. 12 will be cool. Yeah, I don't want something too dark. Let's go with something not that dark like this one. So click on OK. So for the unselected item with data, we format it and we come over here for the font. We want to put it on something gray here, right? And I want to use italic for it. So for the border, no border. I'll customize my border. This is my border here. I'm going to change the color to be this one. Then I will do this. So let's click on fill. We fill it to white. We click on OK. Click on OK here. So if you look at it, nothing happens. Let's go to the top ribbon again. We select our slicer. We select this very one over here. So now you can see what we have done. This is what it is. So unfortunately, I don't like this. The unselected one appeared, the dash under the unselected one appeared very, very well, which is the border, appeared very well. And the selected one from here is not very much highlighted for me. I have to change all of this. So go over here, slicer. Instead of you to right click and do duplicate again, we click on modify. So when we click on modify, what we're going to do for the first time, our header here, let us take care of it. So the header shouldn't appear too outstanding like this. So let's go with a header that looks like this. I'm going to select something. Let's select something like this, better. Okay, that is the header. So click on OK. Now for the selected item with data, we were using 12 before. Let's go with 14. 14 looks beautiful and I can actually put it on bold. Then let's try this. So for the unselected item with data, unselected item with data, we have to go over to border and we are here. So we come over here. Let's go with this very one. And let's update this and click on OK. Click on OK from here. So now if you look at it, this is what it is. So for the selected one would look very bold and it will be outstanding from the rest. So if I unselected everything now, I am going to have something like this, which is absolutely okay because I'm going to be always on selection to check for a particular month. And that month is actually very visible to everyone to know what exactly is being selected. So I'm going to tell you first time that we are almost done with this. But one thing I want to do right now is to have this one duplicated. I'm going to move this one over here, my control one. Then I come over to this. I change this
to a particular color, like this color right here. So once I've done this now, I'm going to just keep this here. And now right click and I'm going to send to back. Send this to back looks just like this. So this is what we have. This is what we have right here. So we can actually take a look at what we have done. So this is what it is. So now we have something like this.